Good morning, traders. So how do we trade the DAX today? So you can see how the levels that I called yesterday were pretty much tagged. The first level being 12,042 was hit. Sorry, that's not from yesterday. So the first level that we called for yesterday was 11,973, and that was hit. And we actually dropped a little bit further, and I'm going to take it to this inside bar here. And you can see how the buyer stepped in at 11,915. Okay, so I just want to run a little bit more to the left, and I'm going to just add the next level. I'll just delete that one. So next level to downside is this inside tail here. Okay, and you can see between this bar and this bar, this is a low, this is a higher low. So that's my inside tail. So that's the one that I want to watch. And that is 11,800. Okay, so a couple of things about 11,800 is it does give us a lower low on the daily. In other words, this is no longer just a retracement. We're now looking for a double bottom. Failing a double bottom, you can expect a lower low, and then any pullback that creates a lower high is going to be an opportunity to get in short again. Okay, so the DAX is kind of a difficult one. I was expecting this to play out into inverse head and shoulders and start breaking to the upside, but that's not materializing. And you can see we are having these fairly big red days. Now, there's a lot of political noise happening in Europe with Italy and with Germany and the trade wars affecting. And so there's quite a bit happening. And there's been a bit of a sell-off on European stocks as well. So I think for me at the moment, it's probably a wait and see to see how this level plays out. Anyway, let's just start with a 4-hour. Okay, so we did get a bit of an inside bar at the close, but I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt because it was a public holiday yesterday in the US, so there probably wasn't much volumes. This was very thin trading, so this little bounce here doesn't really mean much. Okay, so what I would like to see is another pullback and form a double bottom here. That would give me some confidence that we have formed a bottom. But for now, everything's grouped to the downside. We did step out the Bollinger Bands here, and we've got an inside bar. So there is my first warning. Okay, if we look at the hour, you can see same thing. We've grouped to the downside. Nothing really to write home about in the momentum index, except we do have a squeeze on. Okay, so nothing really that we can write home about at the moment, and we are still very much in a downtrend. The only difference is we have started swinging up here. So now if we start looking at the lower time frames, you should start seeing a crossover about to happen. Now, we're outside the Bollinger here. We are separating quite nicely, and we're coming to a crossover. So I do suspect we're going to have another move to the downside. Okay, so you can see the oscillator is indicating that that's going to happen. So I expect another move to the downside. Now the question is whether we come back to this level of 11,900 and we find some support and buy a step in, and that becomes our entry long. Okay, so ultimately we are going to need to break. On the short term, we're going to need to break 12,000. If we can get above 12,000 and stay above 12,000, then we have the potential for a long to start brewing. But the reality is we're going to need to be above the high of yesterday. Now, yesterday was a 226-point move to the downside. So this was really a continuation of the Friday. So, and there is no reason at the moment to suspect that this downward move is over. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, I think just delete that. We're going to we have to break above the high of yesterday for me to have some confidence that this trend has changed. Okay, there's nothing really else that I can see here that is going to indicate a direction. So if I look at the 30-minute right now, whatever bounce we do have, and we're staying below the high of yesterday, and we start rolling, there's another opportunity to get short. Okay, and shorts are going to be scalps here because you've got these two big levels here, so you're going to have to watch it pretty carefully. Now, I don't have time to watch this today, so I think it's probably going to be a wait and see for me. So I'll be watching it on the 1 hour, and once we have a crossover of these moving averages an hour with price coming back to test that break, that is my entry point to get in long. If we just look at the weekly quickly, we still have this big head and shoulders at play, and that is what most of the traders are trading at the moment. Okay, so they are anticipating that we're going to get a break below sort of 11,800, and they're expecting us to break below it and this head and shoulders to play out. Okay, and I think I've said it many times, I'm not in that camp just yet. If we do break below 11,800 and come back and test the break, I will then consider it. But for me at the moment, this is one big range. Okay, so I'm very wary of being short at this level. Okay, I want to. You can just see there's just so much happening here. The moving average is moving apart. Oscillators grouping to downside. And if you look on the daily, you can see what I'm talking about here. So moving averages cross over, and then they cross to the downside, cross over. We've got everything heading down again. So it's heading back to a grouping like this. Still a couple of days to go, but there's definitely something brewing here. So I'm expecting some consolidation at this level again. So somewhere between 11,800 and 11,900. I'm expecting some form of consolidation for another move to the upside. Okay, so yeah, so I think for the DAX, it's still wait and see for me. I'm not really interested in being short here. If you are short on this, I would start getting a little bit worried, especially with this bounce towards the close yesterday. But yeah, I think probably just keep a stop above this fractional here. So keep a stop above 12,010. That would be a pretty safe bet. And if we fail to break through that level and continue down, then yeah, I'm not sure I'd add to it, but there's definitely scope for these two levels to be tagged. Okay, so 11,900 and 11,800. So anyway, that's kind of my view on the DAX at the moment. I'm looking for a long play, and I'm looking for it off this bottom here somewhere. So as soon as I see something on the hour which is indicating a turn, and we may have it here. Okay, this may be the turn here because you do have sort of an inside bar, and then you've got an engulfing bar with follow through. But like I said, the volumes would have been very thin last night into the US close, so take it with a pinch of salt. Okay, so ideally I want to see it come back, form a double bottom, and then we can get in. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. Really looking for a long entry. So this could just consolidate a bit and then have one final squirt down to come and test these levels before the buyers step in. So right now it is wait and see for me on the DAX. Okay, so yeah, that's my take on the DAX at the moment. Not looking for shorts, not at this level anyway. So we're looking for longs, and we've got to wait for price action to confirm that my entry is there. Anyway, guys, that's my take on the DAX for now. So it's just watch and see what happens. Watch these levels carefully. If you do start seeing positive price action on the half hour or on the hour, that's going to give you an indication that there is an entry coming. But just be careful. I don't see a long entry at the moment. I see it moving up to consolidate for another short scalp to the downside. Okay, so watch price action. As soon as you see all these oscillators grouping to the upside here, let's take it on the 12 hours, all the 30, like it's grouping at the moment. So you should expect it to bounce up a little bit and then roll over and come and test these lows again. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm expecting today. If you are going to trade the short scalp, just keep those stops tight. If we do break above this fractional, just be careful, because that's going to be an indication that this next fractional is close, and that would be a new high. Okay, so that would be the starts, potential starts of a turnaround. And obviously you want to see that on the hour. Okay, so, and in all honesty, if we take it on the 4 hour, that's not really a fractional there, because this is not valid. This is not a valid candle over here. So that's not a fractional. That's not a fractional, because that's not a valid candle either. And 1, 2, 1, 2. So this is the 4 hour fractional up here. So we've got a long way to go. So 12,345 is a level that needs to break for any confidence to happen that we're moving to the upside. Okay, but just have a look at what's going on in the 4 hour. You can see the moving averages separating. We are deviating very far from the 200 moving average. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to get a bounce soon. We've grouped to the downside. We're outside the Bollinger Band here. We've got an inside bar. I'm looking for another signal to get me long. So that's basically what it boils down to. Okay, so anyway, guys, pay careful attention, and you may get a half-decent swing trade out of this as the buyers step in. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll catch up with you later. Cheers for now.